Hello, everyone. Welcome to Dude It's Football Season 2. I'm the host, Buck Rogers, and I'm a sophomore. My favorite NFL team is the Ravens.
I'm Doyle. I'm a sophomore as well, and my favorite team is the Chicago Bears.
I'm Thomas Mekelvey. I'm also a sophomore, and my favorite team is the Philadelphia Eagles.
And we are filming on November 20th, so the NFL season has been interesting so far. Let's go through the first 10 weeks, were very good. We had the Chiefs going 9-0, finding some crazy ways to win, but they ended up losing week 11 to the Bills. What did you think about that?
They went in there and fought hard, but the Bills are just a better team. We saw it. They've been getting bailed out like every single week up to this point. First game of the season by an inch.
Yeah, I can definitely feel that as a Ravens fan. That's a tough loss that I've had to deal with. Anyways, let's see. What do we think about the Bills? At first they looked a bit questionable, but they've looked like probably the best team in the league since week 6 or so.
Yeah, I think the Bills are looking good. Obviously, you have Josh Allen and his new win over the Chiefs. That's putting them in the MVP conversation, and you got James Cook, and you got a solid offense. So I think they're going to be good the rest of the season.
Did Josh Allen override Lamar Jackson for the MVP after Week 11's games?
I think so. You saw how he performed against the Chiefs. Obviously, they were 9-0 beforehand, and they took him down. So some could argue that this was just a bad week for the Ravens. They got to talk some stuff over, but as of now, I think Josh Allen is in MVP conversation.
Yeah, I'm actually going to argue that Lamar Jackson should still be the MVP. I do think this was an off week for the Ravens, and we've seen the Bills have an off week or two. Let's go back to week 4 when they only scored 10 against the Ravens defense, who's been one of the worst in the league. They've only had a few good games, and then they've had a lot of ugly games.
Yeah, going off worst defense. Best defense really is looking like the Eagles right now.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about the Eagles. They looked like they were having a rough start, but they've improved since.
Bye week. We had a bye week. Got our stuff together. Undefeated since then.
Yeah, that pickup of Saquon Barkley from the Giants was perfect, and it fits the team very well. So, as long as they keep pushing through the season, they look like Super Bowl contenders.
Yeah, I feel like that blowout win against the Bengals really proved that they were back, and last season's collapse at this point just seems like a fluke.
Yeah, the Bengals, it's been rough for them. How much talent they have around their team, Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, and how much they've put in their work. It's surprising to see their record so far.
I know they could have easily swept the Ravens. They had 10+ point leads both times, but as a Ravens fan, those games were scary, but I'm happy that the Ravens came back and won both those games.
All right, let's move on. What's up next, Buck?
Let's recap the Week 11 games. Let's talk about Thomas's Eagles on Thursday Night Football, getting a 26-18 win over the Commanders. What do you think about that?
Hey, it was a rocky game. Went up, barely scored. We were down by a lot going to fourth quarter. 12 minutes left. Saquon broke off a huge touchdown run, put us up 12 to 8, I'm pretty sure, or 12-6. And then the Commanders just couldn't do anything since then. It went up, scored garbage time, really. So the final score was pretty much 26-10, but it was 26-18.
Yeah, definitely. Jaden Daniels has been pretty good so far, but that was his worst performance yet. And I honestly think the Eagles are going to win the NFC East this year.
Yeah, I second that. I think Jaden Daniels, or the Commanders as a whole, they haven't been doing good against teams that are good.
For example, they lost to the Ravens, Steelers, and now they go down against the Eagles. So, yeah. Let's move on to the next game, which was a 34-19 win for the Dolphins, who are on a 2-game winning streak. Tua was injured earlier in the season, and they were struggling, but now they might have gotten things together. What do you think about that? I honestly thought that Tua injury impacted them a lot.
Yeah.
And then Tyreek Hill has had a down season, although I wouldn't really say it's his fault since he's been playing with a lot of backups. The Dolphins had a terrible backup QB plan, and if Tua gets hurt again or if something goes wrong, their season's done.
Yeah, I mean, you can see in these stat lines here, Tyreek Hill and Jonnu Smith was combined for 13 catches, 162 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So with Tua back in the picture, obviously they're performing well. And like Buck said, without Tua, I mean, there's really nothing they can do, and it's not his fault.
Oh yeah, and then the Las Vegas Raiders. They're one of the worst teams in the leagues, and that continues to happen. And they're honestly competing for a top pick this year, so if you're a Raiders, you'd probably just root for... If you're a Raiders fan, probably just root for your team to keep on losing.
Yeah, at this point, there's nothing else you can do.
All right, let's move on to our next game. The Browns and Saints, I mean, two teams that have disappointed this season, and the Saints getting a big win, MVS being a huge pickup for them.
Yeah, I mean, the Saints started off they were dropping 40 bombs first 2 games. Then they ran into the Eagles. Look, I'm not trying to say anything, but ever since then, they've been really sucking recently.
I mean, yeah, but to be fair, the first 2 weeks, they faced the Panthers and the Cowboys, who have been 2 of the NFL's worst teams this year.
Yeah, the Cowboys are real awful.
And then they beat the Browns, who've been another one of the worst teams. And then the Falcons look so inconsistent right now. So, Saints still got a lot of questions. Taysom Hill obviously had a good game. Fantasy Player of the Week, by the way. If you had him on the fantasy team, then you probably won, but there's no way. There's no guarantee about it. But yeah, let's move on.
All right. What's up next?
Let's talk about the Colts and the Jets.
Wow.
What a game.
Both teams fighting for their season on the line, and Anthony Richardson just balled out. Let's be honest here.
Yeah, Anthony Richardson, that was a huge game for him, especially coming back from injuries. It really proved himself as a rookie quarterback. And 272 yards throwing is very, very good.
Yeah, and Rodgers, I feel like he just continues to disappoint. He might as well retire. I don't even think he wants to play anymore. He just hasn't been looking that great.
Oh yeah, the Jets situation. I mean, they fired their head coach. Now their GM is gone, and their owner apparently planned on benching Rodgers after a Week 4 loss to the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, and even the coaching. I mean, you've had two coaching staff fired in the past 3 weeks, is it? And it's just falling apart. And Devontae Smith, even as much as he is a good player, I mean, things have not been going well.
Hey, Devontae Smith is also a very good player.
And then we got Vikings beating the Titans. I mean, the Vikings had the longest touchdown of the season, but they allowed it. That was really the only highlight for the Titans. And the Vikings looked better than they did against the Colts and Jaguars, so that's a good sign.
Hey, speaking about the Jaguars, Doug Peterson.
Yeah, let's talk about that game.
Yeah.
52-6 against the Lions. Yes, I know Trevor Lawrence wasn't starting, but that is horrible.
Yeah, that is real awful. And Doug Peterson's already on the chopping block. I think they're going to let him go soon.
Yeah. Jaguars probably going to get the number 1 pick. I mean, hopefully they can get Travis Hunter to research their franchise. I mean, it hasn't really been Trevor's fault, but, everyone thought that Trevor Lawrence would research their franchise, and it's been a disappointment so far.
Yeah, I mean, high hopes coming into the season. Really disappointing. You know, you have all these great QBs, Joe Burrow, Lamar, and then there's Trevor Lawrence. You know, he's on a bad team with not very great players. You got Gabe Davis, and you got all these players who are always injured. So the team's just falling apart. And the fact that they record 645 yards, which is franchise history, is just astonishing.
Oh yeah, Lions looking like they're gonna win the Super Bowl right now. But anyways, NFC North battle, Packers and Bears. Finn, you're a Bears fan. How do you feel about that blocked field goal at the end?
Yeah, it's pretty. We know it was gonna happen.
Used to it.
Yeah, we're used to it. 2018. Yeah, Cairo Santos is a great kicker, and there's nothing he could have done. But unfortunate, But it's good to see that the Bears are holding up against a team like the Packers, and it's unfortunate that this year that they're in such a very strong division, and some might say the strongest, obviously with the Lions and the Packers and the Vikings even. So yeah, there's talk about Williams. There's talk about just coaching in general. So we just gotta figure it out.
Oh yeah, and the Rams having their best offensive game of the season against the Patriots, who've been actually doing okay with their rookie quarterback Drake May.
Yeah, Drake May. I was very impressed by his performance. Obviously, yeah, there's not much to it. He had some couple tough games, but I think he learned from his mistakes and definitely got over with it.
Now we're going to talk about a game that I do not want to talk about as a Ravens fan, but the truth hurts. Steelers just have won 8 of their last 9 against the Ravens. Like, it's been tough to face the Steelers the last few years for the Ravens, and I always feel like the Ravens have an off game against them. Their defense, for some reason, played better than usual, but they still lost. Well, not even allowing a touchdown and 6 field goals. I don't know, but this game kind of gave me vibes of the Steelers-Falcons Week 1 game when they had Justin Fields starting. And, of course, former Raven Patrick Queen got the fumble recovery and fumble forced to set the Steelers up for a field goal. Deshaun Elliott got a fumble recovery, so former Ravens did successful in this game. But anyways, let's move on to a game that was surprising in my opinion, and would have been more surprising in previous years, but not in this year. Came down to the wire. Seahawks and 49ers.
Yeah, big game. Geno Smith kind of balled out, brought it down real close, went down, ran, got a touchdown for the win.
Yeah, 49ers just still look inconsistent, despite getting Christian McCaffrey back.
Yeah, they seem very out of touch, and I think a lot of people had that coming last year, obviously coming off of a loss of the Super Bowl. Yeah, Brock Purdy was only okay, completing 22 of 30 passes for 160 yards, but he also had interceptions. So, he's doing the right things, but he's just not in that groove. He hasn't hit that click yet.
Oh, yeah. And then, let's go to... We were talking about the Falcons earlier. They just got blown out 38-6 by the Broncos. Man, I don't know about them anymore. They might win their division, but I don't know what's going to happen after that and what their final record would be. They looked good like when Week 9 was over, and then they've lost to 2 teams that they shouldn't have.
Yeah. I think the Broncos are the biggest surprise of the season because no one really expected much. But they went out, got Bo Nix, and their defense has been playing real nice.
Yeah,
I feel like Sean Payton's kind of turned Bo Nix into the Drew Brees. He's got that effect on quarterbacks. Obviously, it didn't work on Russell Wilson, but it seems like it's been working on Bo Nix. He's getting better and better every game.
Yeah, and with that whole team, I think they're just like the Texans from last year, and that's exactly what I think they're going to perform like. If they do make a spot in the playoffs, which is unlikely if they do, I'm giving huge Texas vibes. Yeah, Bo Nix, almost flawless, 29 for 34 attempts for 318 yards and 4 touchdowns. That is, and what a team wants from a quarterback. So, yeah, high hopes for them.
Absolutely. So we kind of already talked about the Chiefs-Bills, but let's talk about the game that got flexed into Sunday night. Chargers and Bengals.
What a game. Came down to the wire. Bengals were down, going to halftime, came back, tied it up. End of the game, kept going back and forth. It was a couple seconds left. Ran in for the final touchdown of the game.
Yeah, former Raven, J.K. Dobbins.
J.K. Dobbins.
Definitely a piece that I missed, but I'm glad the Ravens have Derrick Henry now, so that's all right.
Yeah.
But you could have used him more in the Steelers game, but anyways. I feel bad. I feel horrible right now for Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase putting the Bengals on their backs every week, only to come out with a 4-7 record.
Yeah, Joe Burrow should still be in the MVP conversation.
He'd probably be an MVP if the Bengals were in playoff contention.
Yeah, I mean, it really comes to what team you're on, and for Joe Burrow, I mean, this might be your last year. I mean, you can't obviously be a franchise quarterback with no talent around you. Obviously, he's got Jamar Chase, but you lost so much stuff in the past years. T. Higgins and so many more people. Yeah, there's just really nothing to it.
Yeah, Higgins and Chase are set to become free agents, and they're probably going to sign elsewhere, so it might be back to square one for the Bengals.
Yeah.
Anyways, Monday Night Football, the Battle of Texas, was pretty one-sided.
Yeah, no conversation there. Texans and C.J. Stroud obviously went up and show out. They just destroyed the Cowboys. And, yeah, Cowboys are not looking good.
Yeah, Cowboys have really fallen off. This is their big off year for them. 3-7.
They were looking off with Dak, and Cooper Rush, I don't know, he just does not look good at all.
Yeah. I don't know what they can do.
I think they should give Trey Lance a chance.
They probably should because he's still young. I mean, I see them keeping Trey Lance and trying to build him more.
And that Dak contract, on their first game of the season, was very questionable in my opinion.
He hasn't played like $300 million player.
I totally agree with you. I think he's making $60 million a year for 4 years, so $240 million. But anyways, let's go to weekly awards now.
All right, Buck, you're up first.
All right, MVP of the week, Jared Goff, who absolutely balled out and led his team to a 52-6 victory over the Jacksonville Jaguars. Is there any really debate for that?
I don't think so.
Well,
Who'd you all pick for the MVP?
MVP, I had Josh Allen. You know, as much as he didn't score 52 or however many it was, he beat the Chiefs, obviously the reigning champs, and I think that really helped him with his current, not situation, but almost like his, I don't know what to describe it as, but beating the Chiefs was a huge accomplishment for him, and it puts him in the MVP conversation. So I put him as MVP of the week.
Okay, and Thomas, did you pick someone different for MVP?
This might be slightly biased, but Thursday night, I was watching that game. That was a tough game. Hard to stay in it, but Saquon Barkley really started. He pulled the team back into it with those 2 touchdowns. Really drove us forward. So I want to give him the MVP.
Could have had 3, but got stopped at the 1-yard line, and
Push.
He's been the heart and soul of this Eagles team. So interesting not to pick a quarterback, but I see what you're saying there. Let's go to Offensive Player of the Week. My opinion, I got to go with Texans running back Joe Mixon, who's had a very good season. And I've honestly been surprised with how good he's been this year on the Texans.
Yeah, I like that. He's very rarely been off. I mean, scored me a lot of fantasy points.
Oh, yeah. What did you say, Finn?
I had Bo Nix as my Offensive Player of the Week, and I thought he was playing so good. Obviously, I already said this, but 29 of 34, great record for a rookie QB, a new QB. At 318 yards and 4 touchdowns, no turnovers, and keeping Bijan Robinson with the defense. Obviously, this isn't Bo Nix, but the whole team played great, and Bo Nix was a part of it, so I'm going to give it to him.
All right, Thomas.
Hey, I mean, you guys show love for some kickers out there. Chris Boswell, he really gave him the win there. Kicking's proved to be hard. Everyone used to think it was. Everyone used to thought it was automatic.
Kicking has been, oh my goodness, kicking was the reason the Ravens lost. Tucker missing 2 field goals. Chris Boswell was the only Steelers offense in that game. Hey, I just have to laugh this loss off and agree with you on that one.
Yeah. Chris Boswell's a great pick. And Tucker, like you said, kicking's hard. Tucker had an off day today, and hopefully we'll be back on track for next week.
Defensive Player of the Week. I gave it to Jalen Ramsey of the Miami Dolphins, who's starting to look better and better. He's had 2 picks in the last 3 games, and he got a big one on Sunday. And 2 passes defended.
All right. I think Yeah, I think that's a great. Following up on that,
choice.
I wanted to say Cameron Kinchins. He is a third-round pick out of Miami on the Rams defense. He had 8 total tackles and 6 solo. So, I mean, that's got to give you some. And he was considered Defensive Player of the Week by several of the websites that I follow. So, I'm just going to go with him.
Got the NFL Defensive Player of the Week, so NFL agrees with you on that one, and he's been pretty good. I mean, that 100-yard pick six against the Seahawks a few weeks back.
Yeah, he's been doing great. I'm happy for him. Obviously, he's brand new, but good for him.
All right, Thomas.
Hey, that's a real game-changing player. But Quinyon Mitchell, look at his stats. He's locked down every star receiver. I'm just saying. I think he's on track for Defensive Player of the Year. He's been going insane. Locked down Jamar Chase. Locked down Terry McLaurin. I don't think there's anyone he can't just stuff.
Quinyon Mitchell. I think he'll get Defensive Rookie of the Year, but not Defensive Player of the Year, just because of how the awards work.
You're right.
I mean, when you mention those guys, obviously, Jamar Chase is just on a struggling team, and Terry McLaurin is old.
Yeah, but he's put up some good numbers this year.
Yeah, but he's just not as athletic and agile as he used to be.
But holding him to 0 catches is pretty good.
That is pretty good.
Anyways,
so, yeah, I'll give you that.
If I were to watch only one game this week, this was the game of the week, which would be the game of the week, in my opinion. It would be Colts versus Jets. It came down to the wire. And it was against two teams that desperately needed a win. And in the end, the Colts won. The Jets were down, but they came back. But it just wasn't enough at the end. They had a chance to win it in the final minute and didn't. Who would you say the game of the week is?
I did the same exact thing as you, Buck. Colts versus Jets, obviously, game of the week. And, I mean, he said it perfectly.
Thomas, did you pick something different, or did you pick the same game?
Hey, man, I put Chargers-Bengals. At first, I thought it was going to be a blowout Chargers. Bengals came back. I mean, it was close in the end. That was a fun watch.
All
right.
Moving on.
Football has players, but let's not forget about the coaches. Coach of the week, in my opinion, is Mike Tomlin. He always has a good game plan against the Ravens, and that continued on Sunday. I think he's one of the top 5 head coaches in the league right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't argue with that. Mike Tomlin, as much as he isn't a playoff coach, as many of you know, has done very well, and happy for him. Hopefully he doesn't go first-round exit this time and doesn't end up 9-8 like they always do. But we'll see.
I'm going to defend the Steelers on the first-round exit since they haven't had very good rosters. But, Finn, did you say something different?
Not this year. No, I think I have the same as you.
Oh, so you're going Mike Tomlin for Coach of the Week?
Oh, sorry. No, my Coach of the Week was Darren Rizzi, Saints interim. And I said him because he's got 2 wins under his belt as someone who's not even their official head coach. And the Saints needed these 2 wins, so I thought his coaching performance was absolutely great.
All right, Thomas, what'd you say?
Yeah, well, before we get to mine, I want to second what you said, Buck. Mike Tomlin, he's never had a losing season, and I don't think he will anytime soon. And Finn, Daniel Rizzi, way to step up. Or Darren Rizzi, he really stepped up after getting person above him fired. He had to get up and start really working. But I said Dan Campbell because he's been on recently. They've put up so many points these past couple games, and I think it's not only players, but coaching. I think coaching is what brings everyone together. I've seen those locker room videos.
All right, and I think everyone anonymously agrees on this one, but best team performance of the week was the Lions.
Oh, yeah. That's what I said.
Yeah. That one was pretty obvious. Broncos were contenders for it, but they didn't actually get it. Anyways, now we're all gonna make some interesting takes, starting with me. So I'm actually predicting Miami Dolphins to kind of research their season and be good enough to make the playoffs. The rest of their schedule isn't that bad. And the teams they have left, like Packers, Texans, and 49ers, the games that they could lose, all those teams have been underachieving. So if they go 9-8 or 10-7, there's a good chance that we see them in the NFL playoffs as a wild card team.
Yeah.
And
I like that statement. Yeah, obviously everything you said. There is a couple questions, and there's a lot of circumstances that can stop them from being a team. But my hot take was Bears need to rethink their offense. And I don't even know if this is a hot take, but I just wanted to get it out there. They need to help Williams, obviously. As a Bears fan, I can't take Williams can't take the whole blame, and it's got to be the O-line. Another hot take is it might have been smarter to keep Fields, and this is what I believe. Pick up Marvin Harrison to replace Keenan Allen and save money and also injury proneness. So, yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. I honestly think the Bears did try to change, like firing Shane Waldron, but their biggest issue has been coaching. And honestly, Bears are 4-6, but they should really be 6-4. Like, allowing a Hail Mary and then getting a game-winning field goal blocked. Like, those are two games that you got to come up with, and it'd be a different story if the Bears won those two games.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they'd be contenders. Obviously not Super Bowl, but definitely playoff. And it really comes up to these next few weeks, seeing how they're going to perform.
All right, and Thomas, what's your hot take?
This is a real hot take considering where we're at, but I think Ravens are they're gonna make the playoffs. Obviously, they are a playoff team, but I think they're first round exits. If they play the Steelers, I think the Steelers can beat them. And Lamar, I don't think he should get MVP. This would be his third MVP. He'd have more MVPs than playoff wins. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, depends if the Ravens are playing at home or not. I mean, if they win their division, they probably won't be first round exits, which I say they still have a decent chance left. I mean, if they beat the Steelers in Week 16, I mean, 12-5, 13-4, that should be enough to win it.
Yeah,
and I think, and as I said earlier, I thought Lamar should get the MVP. But anyways, let's pick the games for next week.
All right.
Let's do a little rapid fire, just no explanation. Thursday Night Football, Steelers and Browns. Who's winning?
I'm taking the Steelers.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm probably going to go with the Steelers.
Titans and Texans, Sunday. I'm going with the Texans.
I'm going with the Texans as well.
Texans, they've been on a hot streak.
Vikings and Bears, I'm going with the Vikings, and they get a winning record this year.
Unfortunately, I think I'll go with the Vikings as well.
Yeah, Vikings, it's pretty easy.
Similar to another divisional game, Cowboys and Commanders. Give me the Commanders in this one.
Commanders.
As much as I want to say Commanders, I need the Cowboys to win. So, I'm going to go Cowboys.
Okay. First upset, Patriots and Dolphins. That should pretty obviously go to Dolphins. They had a close game against the Patriots last time, but that was with their backup, Tyler Huntley.
Yeah, I think the Patriots will end up on top, but it'll be I think it'll be an upset with Patriots ending up on top. But we'll see how it ends.
Oh, they've got a few of those. I mean, against the Bengals and of course the Bears. I mean, Thomas, what do you think?
I'm gonna stick with you, Buck. I think the Dolphins are gonna sweep.
And then this next game, literally the best team versus the worst team. I mean, this game just shouldn't have even happened, but Chiefs and Panthers.
Yeah.
Chiefs winning.
Chiefs.
Hear me out.
Nope.
I think the Panthers they've been so good recently, coming off of a win in Germany. Look,
that does not count.
It's gonna count. Trust me. I have the Panthers. I have the Panthers winning by a field goal.
Oh, as much as I hate the Chiefs, I just do not think that will happen. And if we come back next episode and the Panthers win, that's impressive by Thomas.
Yeah.
Anyways, Buccaneers and Giants. Tommy DeVito, unfortunately, he had a redemption story last season. He's not getting it done against the Buccaneers on Sunday.
Yeah. I'd say the same.
Buccaneers, probably. I see that happening.
Lions and Colts. Lions just continue being good and win another game.
Lions.
Yeah. Lions by like 50, probably.
So, we got the Broncos and Raiders. Raiders swept the Broncos last year, but this year is going to go opposite. Broncos will sweep the Raiders. Broncos are clearly the better team. Raiders have just been struggling all year long.
Yeah, coming off of a win with Bo Nix, I mean, just even having him as my offensive player of the week, I'm hoping the Broncos win.
Cardinals and Seahawks, big divisional game. I'm going to give it to the Cardinals. they've shown signs of being legit, and I think that continues against the Seahawks.
Yeah, if you saw the power rankings on NFL, I mean, you see the Cardinals even overtook the Ravens. So with that in mind, I think I'll take the Cardinals.
Yeah, I haven't seen the Cardinals play too much. I might have to start watching them. But I think I'm going to go Seahawks here. Same thing. Geno Smith, final touchdown for the win.
Okay, 49ers and Packers, probably arguably the game of the week. I'm going Packers. I think they're the better team right now.
I'm going to second that statement.
Well, I'm going to go Niners. I think McCaffrey's going to have his comeback. This is going to be the game where he's going to show that he's actually back. So,
my fantasy team would love that. But yeah, Sunday Night Football, Eagles and Rams. I'm going Eagles.
Taking Eagles as well.
I mean, obviously, the Eagles are going to destroy the Rams.
Okay, maybe not, but I think the Eagles will still win.
Yeah.
Ravens and Chargers. John Harbaugh is really good after a loss, and I think that continues, and he beats his brother Jim.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, John Harbaugh has got to prove himself on Monday, but obviously, I'm taking the Ravens.
Look, I'm not trying to be different, but I actually think the Chargers can pull this game through, so I'm going to be rooting for them.
Okay, you're going Chargers. All right. And so, with that in mind, that's the end of our podcast. I'm Buck Rogers.
I'm Finn Doyle.
I'm Thomas Mekelvey.
Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next episode.